Hello, everyone! We're here at episode 3. Wonderful that I've gotten this far, even though it's not very far at all. My name's Touch Fuzzy. Well, it's not my actual name, but that's what everyone knows me in the RPG Maker community. My real name's Nick Palmer. I work for Digica, and I'm making a game in RPG Maker MZ. There's 2 previous episodes. If you haven't watched before, go watch them. They're goodish. I'm sure they're exciting. I've rewatched them. It's Dungeon 7 was the song that I was doing. So since last week I got delayed and I had to switch to Friday, I actually not done a whole lot since last week. Also, I'm for next week we're not gonna have the stream. I'm taking my vacation, my summer vacation, very late. So I'll be away. I'm gonna have a good break, which is exciting. So no stream next week. So I've been getting everything ready for that. So I haven't done a whole lot in the interim. I'm sure everyone identifies with having a week where you get almost nothing done on your game. But let's switch over to looking at our actual... Okay, so what very small things did I do since last week? Well, the only really thing I did was I found a few more tile sets that I really liked. It was this stuff was Maru's Bits. Let me grab the link for that. This is Panda Maru's stuff on the RPG Maker site. I like their stuff a lot. And they made some really cool cliff tiles that I'm going to be using. Find that here. You can just import MV map sets directly in MZ. There's no reason not to. They're the same format. Just pull the tile sets over. The only thing is if you're going to, you can't really, you cannot really deal with like mixing the two. I wouldn't unless you did some adjustments. You need to like do some saturation adjustments. MZ's tile set is much more saturated than MV's, so they don't look good side by side. But yeah, you can pull them straight over. So I'm gonna be doing just some mapping today. I'm trying to be like really relaxed. I started this map. Literally all I did was put a river in. I'm gonna do like a forested area. And I personally think I'm really good at this type of map. Especially because like here's the stuff that I switched over from, I got from Panda Maru's stuff, like these trees, this and the cliff style stuff. So you can do some different stuff. Huh. So how's everyone doing today? Have you worked on your games this week? And if so, what have you been doing? And while people are answering that question, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I do this kind of stuff. So we're going to be using more stuff down here instead of using this to do our cliffs, because I think these are better. That Panda Maru made. And so I start at the very basics of just making shapes, and then I fill in what's needed. So I'm using this bottom little thing to like show the bottom of this cliff, and then I'm gonna like fix all of the actual cliff facing and like attach them all together. So like let's do like that, and we probably need some more. Let's get shaping. So like I know it looks like garbage right now, but that's just because we're just like getting shapes that are all that matter to me at first. I'm gonna get like a upper area here, and then switch to user. And we're gonna like draw these together and then like put them in place. I think have like the whole thing step down over here as well. Me putting in some waterfalls as well. But like by going ahead and identifying how we're gonna do our ups and downs, we're working from a higher level. So like one of the other things is that I'm having to think of is so we have our character who is going to come into this map. They're going to be facing downwards when they come in. And what I need is for them to come into the map. And here's a time to zoom in some. Let's look at what 1-to-1 looks like. Obviously garbage. They're going to come into the map. And when they come into the map, they need to be able to not see what's going on. Playing with easing. That's create common events to bring character busts in and out for messages. I like using character busts for messages. If I wasn't just really being lazy about it, I would have tried to do it for this game, but I'm being lazy about that. And hello, William McBlack. Alright. So anyways, I was saying what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like bring the character in. They need to be able to see like just forest and nothing going on. And then there needs to be like they're gonna hear a yell, they're going to run to another area to deal with that thing, and then so we're gonna have to like also think about like I'm doing just shapes now, but also it needs like flow. How is everything connecting? So this is all a step down here. So like I think like here is a good place to start, right? Like say they come out of a cave entrance here. And that gives this area down here is kind of the area they hear something from. And then after they do that, they can travel up this way and do something else. I might need to like make the map bigger as time goes on. But that gives me a good like function of where they're going right here in the beginning. So I know I'm gonna need a cave right here. So that's some basic shapes. Let's start filling in. So curves. Alright, and I generally like just create by doing all of one type at once. So like this, I'm probably gonna have to straighten this river out and have it come down waterfall right here. Alright, so that's all of that corner. Then we just throw in this corner. Then we need to do a couple more of those. Reading Vista Stella plugins. I'm with you there. I have it's one of those things that like there's a lot to read how to use them. And it's because there's just so much to do, right? And so much you can do with them. Incredibly powerful. And a million little options. Try putting a widescreen scroll picture on the map. It is an interesting thought. I know also Penamaru has like these edges that I really like. Let me find them. It's I think it's in here. These right here, so like I can, instead of having, you can go like this. Kind of get like a different corner edge. in there. And so they're coming out of a cave right here, so let's like give it a little bit more room. And so actually looking at, because I'm using, these are Penrose pieces with MV, but because MV had like the different stuff with like a lot of this right here could have had transparency on, since we're using it, since you can use it on different layers, but not as important. Let's straighten out this river a bit. The river is gonna have to like curve to come across here and match up and have a waterfall. Yeah, that is like the style like it's done in. I really like it. I wish someone would go through, someone with a lot more skill than me. I think that's better. Though I will admit I have strongly considered trying my hand at it, even though I know that I am not a graphical artist, but I have strongly considered attempting to to see if I can create something like this for other tile sets. It's such a really, really good style and design that Panamaru did, with like all the inclines, the diagonal stairs. But I don't think I'm going to be using them in this one. But there's just like so many like little things that she did that's really nice. I do dislike that bit of... Is that done with the shadow pen like that? No, that's part of the tile. I might have to edit a little bit on the tiles because I don't like that shadowy bit. Yeah, like Panamaru did this for and like the rounded edges and stuff for specifically the grass tiles, but I mean, like for instance, editing it to go with that brown, the brown like ground stuff, like that, because sorry, I'm on the wrong tool, but to go with this one, like editing that to that would be no issue really. But it's when you start getting into some of the other types that I think it'd be a little difficult. I think it'd be cool to do with like the forest stuff. Though I'm not going to use this. I know a lot of people do for forests. I prefer to make forests out of just a bunch of trees instead. Okay, another thing that I like doing on these is like, so this is 3 high. I might make it 4, like it's too high. I might make it 3 high though. So let's... Should I make it 3 high? Yeah, because it gives me more options. So I made some mistakes there. Let's try that again. Okay, so what this is gonna do, I think I can like do this. So by going 3 high instead, it gives me some options to like do varying heights on a few pieces. So what I'm gonna do instead of having, okay, do and then do the water bits there, and this, and redraw the cave entrance. Oh, I missed one spot. There's something about the Triada tile. I'm just not a big fan of it. Like, it works for what it's meant to do, but I still don't like it. So anyway, what I was trying to say with like, with doing like this, which also I think that gives me room to do like that, or hold on. Like this to look, I'm really bad at this. This one I want. There we go. That like has a different look to it. But what I can do now is I can put in some other height bits. So like you could do like, let's see if this is going to look as good as it does with. Hold on a second. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit differently. I'm going to have to have some squared off corners. Let's say we take this. So let's get here, replace that. I've done it with some other types. And we can put, where's my squared off? Oh, wow. I'm blind. Excuse me. Alright, so then, nope. Okay, this needs to be like that. I know what I'm doing. Alright, so continue that, and then I shift clicked this here. Done this before, but I've not done it with this set. Here we go. How did I do this before? I think I need to use this right here. And this, I had something else that I was using, and I'm not sure what it was. Maybe I use that? No. I can do this. Shadow up walls and stuff. I generally like to turn almost all shadows off. I don't really like the auto shadow tool. I would prefer to not use it at all. I think I can do what I want to do, but I have to do it in sections that aren't curved like that. So I'm gonna like fix all of this by just grabbing that, going over it, and I'm gonna straighten some of this part out so I can do what I'm talking. That section over there I was using would just go straight over. Okay, so what I want to do is have a section that is a little bit because one of the things I really like doing with this style is to, and then you use this right here, here, and here. I probably need to do some edits, but if you add a boat to ride the river, would it be able to fall off the waterfall? I don't think so. I've never tried it before because I don't generally tend to put boats except for on world maps. I'm going to do some edits because I think that these tiles aren't made to do what I normally do, which is like you do like varying tile heights on the things where it's going up and down a little bit. Because like I hate how some maps it just universally like falls across the entire thing exactly the same, right? Like it shouldn't all be identical. Might be able to be like and I might be able to fix it with like a I think I know what I can do. I know what I can do. I think. Maybe they put a detail a line of tiles. Yep, here. I can put like this there and that there, and that just covers that little bit. But I like having it where you have like step downs instead of having everything just drop at once. It makes it look a little bit more natural instead of having, oh, there's 3 height wall all the way across. Yeah, you could probably do it with an event. I think now that I realize what I was needing to do, I can do it in more places. And that needs to be this one, This needs to be cross. Here's the problem that I don't think that it's made, like, it doesn't curve across. I think I need like this. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. So then I just need something like, yeah, because that curves down that edge. It's not quite matching up though, is it? This is all just learning how to use this tile set. Nope, that's not good. It's such a cool effect when you can get it to work, and I'm just frustrated that I'm not apparently smart enough to do it. I think it'll look better. And going all the way across there. I need to look at my old maps and see how I did it on those, because I think the issue is in these weren't mapped with the idea of doing this, of like having the different step down pattern to them. Oh, wait a minute. I think these are for. Maybe that's what these are for. Are. Indeed what those are for. I do need to look at what I have done on my... Okay. Oh, these are like half step ups. These are even more interesting. You'd be like, oh, thank goodness they have one that doesn't have the. Hello, Hanola. This is going to be the least. This stream is probably going to be the one that is least about actually doing anything and more about me trying to figure out what I'm doing. Because anytime you use like somebody else's materials they made, there is a learning curve of figuring out how they intended for them to be used. And then also figuring out how you can use them in different ways. Because there's always like new ways to use even things that, you know, new ways to figure out how to like mess with them. I kind of wonder. So if I use that there, then this, if I can do, and this here, can I match up these? I have it come across and match in place with that one. Oh. So it would need to. Doesn't really, does it? Like it needs to be like that at the bottom to match up. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't match up here. I mean, I could just do this. That would look. I need to use this. I don't want that shit. But I'm not sure I like that. I do like that they created these ones that like have like kind of that half step instead of a full step. I'm going to abandon doing this entirely until I can really identify how I should. We're going to focus on a different part of the map, because otherwise I will get angry at myself and mess with this one thing the entire. Let's do some more filling in. We'll see what pieces, like, I could just use mostly these, but I also have diagonals. But I think I want to avoid using the diagonals mostly because I just don't think I want to deal with the whole concept of passability in that. And it also opens up the fact that I can't do that on some of my other types of maps. Frustrating because the tiles do not yet exist. Maybe, just, maybe someone can make them. Maybe I could make them. Complete idiot. Mostly an idiot. So what else have people done in the last week? Even if it's not working on your game, there's other things you can talk about. I'd like to hear about anything. We can talk about whatever while I just fill in all this map. Make it look kind of good. I'm probably going to do another step up over here at some point. I finally got a haircut. Really more I just shaved my head because I can't go out. And it's too much of a pain to do like a complicated haircut if you can't go anywhere. Life in making game assets. What kind of assets have you been working on? Skepsis? Alright, I'm just gonna finish up all of the step ups and step up down. Then I'm gonna like think about. So again, I just try to do all of the same tile at once. But in this case, I think it's gonna be mostly the same tile. Because I didn't do any turn downs. I may want to though. Because like maybe do let's grab this and do like, let's go do a turn down and then with anything natural, like you want to have like one direction it's moving, but like trying not to just have it be too overly regular. I have any. Oh, this was a drop down, not a step up. I'm going the wrong direction. That's fun. That's right. I want to do another waterfall. That was what I was trying. These cliffs specifically are they're an MV set made by someone named Pandamaru. Hold on. Oh, I don't have their stuff up anymore. If you look on the RPG Maker forums, their name is Pandamaru. It's titled Maru's MV Bits, and it has this in here. And I am a big fan of their work, so. Okay. Now that I'm using the right ones, because I was meaning to do step down, not step up. I think this one's just going to be like a single height. Okay. I need to flatten this out somewhere so that I can get waterfall in. That. Action. Move this for over a bit. And try to make animations and effects that you're using in Windows Render and Blender for cutscenes and stuff. That sounds right cool. Like, and no problem, Breaknox. I really like these tiles. I like the rounded corners. I think it'd be even easier to do in MZ if I had formatted them correctly, because they no longer have to be on A5. And on A5, you could actually use transparency here, so they don't have to, since they don't have to be on layer 1 or 2 anymore. All right, so I said I was gonna just have like one height. Bottom piece. Even though I really like doing the thing I was talking about with like changing, where you don't have just like oh, I want this the one the one that doesn't have that. I want it. This piece here. So another thing, like with all right, so that goes 3 across, and then I can just drop with the waterfall. I need to put the events in for the foam at the top and bottom. This area may be a little too open right now, but like since I wanted to focus on these areas first, because this is where what's happening is happening. That makes sense. Which I think I want to make, since something's happening in this little area, I want to make it a little bigger. So let's kind of go up with this. Open this up a little. We're going to put some trees and stuff in here anyway, so it's going to close out. A lot of map making is just experimentation. Continue to do the same things over and over again to try to figure out where you want to go with it. And always try to remember, like, it sounds obvious when you say it, but always try to remember what's happening in the map. Like, I think I actually forgot a little bit. Oh, I need this area to be something where a cutscene's going to happen. Well, I need room for that. Oh, it needs to have room to have a cutscene happen. Alright, so and I'm probably going to cut off this edge over here with trees. So I might lower, because when you're gonna this, like, let's see, I need to do some tests to see where on how this is gonna look. Let's look at that, like, or scaling, because I don't have as good of a, since I'm using the ability to change our thing. So like if something's happening down here, that scene, and my character is standing here, they're gonna get covered by any message bot. So I probably want to make either push everything up or change the height of the map so that there's more visible below it. So let's just change the height of our map. And actually, I think I may want to change the width too and give more width over there. Let's go to 50 by 50. That means we're gonna have to like draw a little bit more everything. But basically, I want to be able to like get this area pretty centered for when we have a scene in it, and we need the extra tiles to do. Start by grabbing the regular tile and just finishing that out. Now we need to. So these are 2 different heights. So what I think I'm going to do is going to have like this come up and this come down to meet it. I mean, it is a big map. I might, in fact, actually shrink it when we actually get to playing. This is the whole thing of, like, you worry that sometimes if you make your map too... Like, right now, I may have, like, started too zoomed out. I may have should have started making this map a little, like, smaller from the beginning. But we're going to see how it works in play, and then I may make a smaller version of this map. So I was saying on this is I want to, like, have this come up to meet it. But since this is a 2-tile height and this is 3-tile height, there's going to have to be a touch between it. Also, even though it's 50 by 50, a good bit of it's going to be non-playable area that you can't get to. And just decorative. So that's a little bit different than, like, a full 50 by 50 map across an entire thing. Like, actually, everything south of this line is probably not going to be playable. And is just there so that you can get a good centered look at the screen when you're in this area for the cutscene. So I'm going to bring this coming down like this. So we're going to need, like, this. That's too strong. Alright, so I'm gonna do this a little bit. Then go back out. Yeah, you want to close off your exits too. 'Cause originally I was just going to do it with trees over here to keep it, but I started realizing I didn't have room if I did that. If I did it with trees, I just wouldn't have had room to do anything. Alright, so these are all too high, so... And also probably use some more of that, like, neat rounded look thing. And I need to grab some more of these little corners. How many of these corners do you think I'm going to forget by the end? I predict a lot. I predict I'm going to have to go through and really hunt to make sure I don't forget any. Alright, and so now this is going to run into it. Let me kind of... I think I need to run into it in this area right here to get it to look good. But I'm not sure yet. But you'll see what happens. If you don't find the players, well, yeah, it's true. It's true. There is no lie. Players are notoriously good at finding every mistake you've made. One, two, these I was missing, and then... I wasn't adding 10 tiles to close an edge. I was adding 10 tiles so that when the scene happens here... Let me show you what I mean. So there's going to be a scene in this area. I wanted... And you still probably don't need to. I can cut probably some of them later, but I was just giving myself extra room. It was mostly so this area could be centered on the map. So, like, if I'm standing here, it's so that my character is centered. So yeah, and by the way, I don't have any pass abilities set for any of this stuff yet. I'm gonna do it afterwards. Hey, look, I missed a corner. But I can tell when I get over here, like, that's probably as low as I need to go. So I can probably cut off right here. So that's like 2 below the lowest point. So yeah, I probably only needed to add like 3 or 4, but I was just doing it to be safe, and now I can figure out where I need to be able to cut off. So I probably need to cut off here, and so that's like 44 by 47, so like 44 by 48. Still like not far off of what I was doing. So 48 wide and then 44 height. Alright, so now I know that this scene will be centered on the screen when I get into it. I'm not using any auto tiling actually for this. I'm just using like separate tiles that someone made on the forums, Panda Maru. There's that little spot I missed. And every version from like XP to now has had auto tiling. It's just different types. If anything, I can probably actually cut some of this down, but we're not going to worry about that right now. If I do, I do. And right now I'm going to worry about getting... So this is 2 tiles high. So I'm going to run these together, and when I do that, I'm going to need to like have a transition between the two. So what I need to do is have an area where it's going straight up. And then I bring across. And like this top one needs to be that. And that needs to be this one. And then I need to like go over with one of these tiles to go like, where's my mouse? There it is. That. See, because I messed up. I think some of those were supposed to be turns. There. Just grab corners. That's 2, that's 3, that's correct. You know, I might make a step up to this area and put something up here, but I'm not sure what it's going to be if I do. Like, make a set of stairs heading up this direction. We're going to worry about that later. So I've got lifts. I want to use some more of this. I guess I could use it right here. Let's see how it'll look over here. Like, the problem is I'm doing it in, like... Okay, so it's kind of made to... Like, I would need to use, I think, this piece. Yeah, like that. And then... Is that gonna... Alright, so I would have to go up one more with that. This would need to go across. There we go. That's like a little rounded corner. Yeah, the style of auto tiles hasn't really changed from VX to now. It's just like size. Like you have 40. These are 48 by 48 instead of 36 by, or 32 by 32. I wonder if I can make it turns like that. Like, no, not really a way to do the turns. It's really just made to do edges like that. I could probably do it like up here somewhere, but fine. Alright, so it's still really empty, so it needs some trees. I really do not like using the auto tile trees. Let's see how well Panda's trees and the default tree. I think they're made to go. They are. Cool, cool. So we're gonna start with just putting some trees in place. Okay. Yeah. Like placement is always interesting because like if you put them too far away, it looks really far away. Like that looks really far away from the edge. I'm gonna do the thing I tell people not to do, and that is, but it's when you're doing rough, like you can rough in zoomed out, but don't like do your final mapping zoomed in out. So I'm gonna start by like just placing kind of randomly some trees, and then I'm gonna like start roughing in the stuff around them. That tree's gonna have to move. I'm mostly focused on this half of the map where I know things are going right now. And we can also like cut together some of them, and then I'll like use this to put them actually together later. And we can then like mix in different types of trees. I don't like how that one looks. I hate when things line up. Lining up is like the worst sin, I think, if you're trying to do anything with nature. If it starts lining up, it looks wrong. Let's grab the... I like this tree, this big tree. Put some of those. And we'll adjust the layers on that one later. Nope, that lined up. Yeah, straight lines in nature really, like, there's reasons to have straight lines and not really straight lines. There's reasons to have where you'll end up with something that looks relatively straight in like paths, because paths are not made the same way as like most of nature. And paths are like where people are walking and slamming things down too. Yeah, you don't want to go too random either. Or actually, you want to go the right kind of random, because if you start clumping up in ways that don't make sense, it also starts looking weird. You could bring those in PS and group together some nature stuff to break it up. Yeah, but I'm not doing it right now. I might do it later. I might do it so that, because like right now, see, the thing I don't like is that if you go all the way to the edge, it's like literally, like a tree wouldn't really grow like that. It needs to be about 6 pixels higher. So since I'm gonna do a cutscene in here, I need to cut a few of these trees, I think, to make like a clearing in this area. But I think what I could do, maybe put one up here, and let's put a big tree. I don't think I, and like put a big tree like there, and that kind of cuts in. And this gives us a clearing area. And okay, now we need to fix up all of this. So this is a situation where I had put things in the wrong order. These will, you can very quickly just pop those on top. Same thing here. Any other that I just layered wrong, and then I can start putting in some other bits of stuff. Look at some of the other trees they did. Oh, there's these. How do these look like? Just I'm not sure I want to use those. But I do really like these really big trees. I didn't grab the whole thing, first of all. But like the really big ones, it starts dealing with the scale of your area. So, like, this is a good tree to use in a different situation. Because you're abstracting your maps a little bit whenever you do these kind of things. Like, are these going to be these trees like literally the size of the trees you're talking about? Sort of. It's a little different than you think. I don't know. Like, abstraction is a thing that I think not enough people pay attention to in... Oh, did they make something like what I was thinking of earlier? Oh, they do. They have a whole bunch of stuff to decorate the edges of the walls. I'll have to mess with those later. Like, a lot of stuff is representative, not literal size. Most things in this doesn't match the size. It makes sense. Like, the insides and outsides of buildings are always kind of randomish. Oh, I didn't put any actual. Let me put some like actual. Oh, that was wrong. I'm just missing. All right. That's another thing where I think that these are lining up too much. I'm gonna take all of this and just push it up. Nope, that's not how I need to do that. Maybe take them this way a little bit. Then now. Okay, that looks a little bit. Okay. And then see, the problem is I keep on grabbing on the map instead of grabbing from here. So I'm not able to like layer over stuff like I. And another thing we can do that I didn't think about, but I should have been thinking about, but because of layers I can do still. So I need to go to layer 2. Am I on layer 2? That's layer 1. Layer 2. Let's put some taller grass in some. And again, I'm just doing this rough. I'm not like, this isn't intended to be final. Especially because I can't, it's harder to see what everything looks like at once when you're working with different layers. So I'm just roughing this, and then I'm gonna look at it and see what it looks like, and then redo. Yeah, see, that just doesn't look right. I think it needs to go under most of the area with trees, even though really it should be like a little less grassed under the trees. Let's kind of like fill in the whole area and see how that looks. I may be doing like not the correct thing at all anyway. I may need to like completely rethink how I'm doing it. And that's fine. You can rethink it. Do something else. Yeah, I don't like how it looks. Let's just get rid of the grass altogether for right now. Work on another place to do that. You know what I'm gonna do? Ah, crap. It's hard to do on this because a lot of the forest maps here. See, like, one of the things I like to do is... And also I'm using the wrong tiles. I wonder what it would even look like if I loaded the different... It probably wouldn't even line up. So let's look at, like, a wooded area. So let's just look at... Forest. This is gonna look really bad when I load it up. like super bad. Oh, first I need to actually change it to even anything remotely resembling the tile set I'm using. Yeah, because it's like dragging all the tiles from the wrong place because I'm using MV tiles instead of MZ. I would have to use a look at MV maps to get a good idea. It's one of the problems with doing this. Yeah, I need to put in flowers and stuff too. I think I need to like do my grass in the opposite idea of what I was doing, and like do grass in areas that don't have trees. Because that's what happened. You would get taller grass where the leaves are not blocking. Uh, are not blocking the sun. Also means I can do it without doing layers, which makes it where I can see what I'm doing. It again looks a little square, which is one problem. You try not to make things square, but the truth is like a lot of MZ and MV's tile sets are very square. They just are. I'm gonna put some pathing in too. Actually, I think I like the paths. I think, yeah, some paths got put in here, which are like I like better. Little tiny pathways. All right, so I'm gonna like have like a little path end here, and then it's gonna like spread out a little. So you have anything where it spreads out to like 2 width? I like the 2 width. Yeah, I'm gonna like go look at other people's maps of forests. Because I'm trying to do it in a very specific way that I think looks good, but also like I wish I could. Let's see. She has to have a way to like. I might need to like go out to 3 and then come into 2. Maybe. Maybe. All right. Let's go out with like a single path first. Then try to widen out up here. Oh, looking in the bottom left. Was it? So I want to get my path to this width. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to do that, because I'm not sure there is. Though, also I think at that width I can use this maybe? I think I'm just use this instead of using their specific. I do like how they have curves in theirs. Ah! I'm getting angry because I don't like either perfectly. Like, I think I really like these curves and stuff, but at the same time, I want the full width of this, which means perhaps doing some editing of my own to get that. So I'm just gonna like do the path with this for right. Alright, I'm gonna have like a... I do have a bridge somewhere. I was pretty sure there's a bridge in B or C. Oh yeah, it's these. Eh. Because you can't really put these under it because that, like, it would need to be over something of a drop to do that. I'm gonna do some making lists at the end of this one too, where let's make like a sandy clearing in here. Because one of the things I was talking about, I do is making lists of what I feel like I still need, and I feel like I need a better bridge, and I just don't really like how that bridge looks. And I might myself try to see if I can edit some of these tiles to have like more roundy corners, because I think I could, and it's always worth trying. It's one of the things I keep telling people is that there is no reason you should not try to do things yourself. I think that's not gonna look right because there's like grass on the bottom of here. I almost wish this one was done as like transparency on the bottom, so that if I went up to it like that, we're gonna have to just do it. I might cut some transparency into that, and then I can go under it, this, and it'll get edge of this instead of grass. I still think that there's... Let's see. Let's look at some more naturey stuff. We've got flowers. Flowers are always good. Let's put like a... This was a maybe a little more center. Also some stumps. Stumps is another thing I could put in. It's always funny that like these kind of tiles like that are really not as necessary as they used to be with where I can layer things. Like used to, that was about the only way you could get that kind of look. But now you can do it without. Hello, Koopa Teppo. I'm doing. Uh, I have not done a forest map in a very long time. I will say that at one point I feel like I was pretty good at it. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think my skills have deteriorated. And I'm trying to use some new tiles that I haven't used before, that I think are really cool looking, but at the same time, um, not doing as hot as I'd like. Okay, I don't want to do that. That's going to be the same pattern. Oh, can't redo. Drop again. And let's do some control tabby. That's on layer 4. So I go to layer 3 and drop. Yeah. It is because the map is kind of big, but at the same time, it needs to be because like I'm not using and that's also why I'm like right now zoomed in. I'm just going to focus on this part right here. I'm going to focus just on this and making this section look good, and that's all I'm thinking about right now. Okay. And I'll think about other sections. So I do think maybe I should put some tall grass in this area, but I'm not sure. Like, maybe up against the cliffs. This is going to be like a massively inconsistent map. If I'm probably going to do what I did with the convenience store. Is that yeah, but you still have to map it all. Even if you separate it into another map, you still have to map it all. And it makes no sense to map it on two maps unless you're just going to have it go off the screen and then, you know, come into that. Like, I admit that that's probably, like, needs to be smaller. But mapping onto... And I mean, mapping is just time consuming. Especially if you want it to look good. Well, I mean, the thing is, this whole section, this area to this area is all... Which is why I said that I do agree that I probably should have made it smaller. Like, I'm probably going to... What I can do, I'm probably going to, like, cut, and move everything up and condense all of this. So, like, boom, and then just go straight up with it. Because really, these are supposed to be closer together than I mapped them. It was the mistake I made at the very beginning of mapping too far zoomed out at first. So like I said, I'm probably going to take... So let's shift click this all of this, and we're going to go up with it. And then we just got to connect everything. So that is 40... That's 37, which means this needs to be 37 high. Right. All right, now let's fix this. All right. This whole section just out sized. Like I said, I think that my brain thought more was going to be visible than it is. So I mapped a little too far. And I can pull this river in like this. And I'm going to ignore all this because I think I need a better bridge. I'm going to put that on my list of stuff to do next time. This all needs to be fixed. I can right now directly fix what's weird. Oh wow, I made a hybrid tree. That is not correct. That's the top of the new tree from this set. And continue to compress stuff. I tried to zoom with... Does the keyboard? Yeah, I tried to use Photoshop zooming shortcuts. Those don't work. I was not aware. Because the point is to come out here when the cut, and then like, boom, what's going on? Then run around to this area to have a scene. Because I wanted this to be off screen when you come in. And then once this area is done is actually when gameplay starts. Like, there's going to be like a fight and stuff. like all tutorial. Ellen, for a lurker, you're really bad at lurking. I've seen you talk. Ah, I did that again. I always try to click on just a section when I just want to grab a section. Another thing I remember, I learned this from a lot of like um, watching art, even though I don't do art, don't ask why, is like trying not to create tangents. See, like right here, this is the thing is like this looks weird, and the reason it looks weird is because it's just stopping right where that would come across, and there's no reason for it to stop right there. Like having things overlap isn't. Here, and let's try to avoid tangents. Draw in. To add back the top of that tree, back the top of this one. It's already looking better. I think that needs to go up one. The problem is that needs to go. That's too regular looking though. Again, that's what I'm trying like to not do. I think it looks better. Again, too regular. So I guess this is a clearing where people are like been camping. It would push out regular. Maybe just that. Yeah. I think that's good. And the thing that you should always do now, it's important to actually just look what it looks like. That actually doesn't look bad now. Like, I think it could probably use a couple more things. Maybe something right here, maybe another tree. Or a bush or something. Maybe another big tree starting right there. I could add animals, but if I'm gonna add animals, they would be in as events, not. Oh, actually, man. Oh, I need to do some like. I really liked how that looked. Actually, um, what I liked about how that looked, I like that flower underneath that. That looks so good. Like it has like a certain energy to. Yeah, rocks and logs are a good idea. Like I said, I was like, I just, I really like. It's that thing of making sure stuff layers, and being able to control layers is like a game changer mapping. Because like I can switch to this layer, and we can start putting some stuff down, and it's gonna go back behind. Like let me grab some kind of flower. I don't think I've used this, but like it lets me things peeking out from behind other things. That's really what I'm like thinking about right now. Like stump right here because clearly this area was cut down. Yeah, it was just the whole thing of like you want stuff to layer. You want everything to layer because layering makes it just look overall more not realistic. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's not realism. It's like okay, that's weird. I thought that was on layer 4. Oh, it is on layer 4. It needs to be that needs to be this needs to be on layer 3. That crap. 1 and this does not. This needs to be on layer 4. Control Z. Like just like that little bit of blue sticking out. Like this area is. Encounters are going to be done a little differently. Also, I would say like a lot of people nowadays don't use on-screen encounters, and the biggest problem I see so often with on-screen encounters is making really narrow maps. Really, really narrow maps. If you make really narrow maps in and your no, not that tree. I don't want that tree. I want the. But if you make really narrow maps with on-screen encounters, there might as well not be on screen. Like all of encounters is going to be different. This, trust me, it's a lot different than what we're talking about because there's going to be random encounters in this game, but not done exactly like you're used to. You're going to be able to avoid them. And also, I'm not going to have like really, really close together encounters. I also used a plugin to adjust it so it doesn't do the thing that MZ go like by default. It's like the number of steps between things is like if you have a 30, it's anywhere between like 1 step and 60 steps. And I'm just doing something where it's only like at 30 it would only be like between 15 and 45 steps. All right. I think random pounders get a bad rap, actually. I do not think they're as bad as people make them out to be. I think a lot of people just really angry about stuff that don't make. But like I said, this game is going to have very the encounter system is going to be different enough that what you're thinking about is not going to be the same. All right, gonna layering here. Like stuff like these though, the like the logs, you don't want to put too many of them because they look weird. Like for instance, if you're high enough level in this game, like can no resource avoid every encounter you. There's no reason to worry about. I don't know. I think that you're right that you need to think about them, but I think that, like, with that, unless I go into describing it again, because I've talked about the encounter system that I'm using for this game. Just trust me, it's going to be different enough that, like, you're not thinking about it. It's going to be similar to more like a Wild Arms 3 system. Da, 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 da. I think this area is probably sufficiently detailed enough, and I just need to work out from there. No, the problem with random encounters entirely is on how they're used in the game, and how there's no way to avoid them, and there's no, outside of just like equipping, like, oh, I just have a piece of equipment and now I can't be attacked anymore. And that kind of style of thing is what I'm talking about, in that, like, I think that people don't think hard enough about it. There's other ways. It has become this idea that there are only two things. You can either have on-screen encounters, or you can have random encounters, and nothing in between. And it frustrates me a lot, because I think it stifles creativity, because no one's trying to think of other ways to do it. No one is thinking, well, yeah, but you could also do this, or this, or this. There's like 8,000 more ways to do it. Wild Arms is the one that I think about, where they had an entire system for avoiding encounters that was based on a I think of the word for it. You had like a bar for avoiding random encounters, and when an encounter was about to happen, I put a tree behind. Oh yeah, that too. You are correct. That's a good idea. To just like have the edge of the tree like popping out from behind the cliff face. The problem with that is, like, I don't know if they'd grow that close, but I'm doing it like up here, right? I'm putting them super close. So yeah, I'm gonna, like, I can't do it on the corners. I can only do it where it's straight. Well, I just want people to, like, think of new ways to do things. I don't want everybody to just think of the same things over and over again. And I like on-screen encounters as much as the next person. It's just that I think there's more ways, and I want to see people explore mechanics more. I want to see people try to do all kinds of different stuff, and not just default to what everyone says is the right way to do it. But anyway, but like I was saying, Wild Arms 3 system, you could avoid encounters. You had a bar that close together. It was though similar flowers should grow close together, but we're not going to talk about that. But you can use the bar to avoid an encounter, and it goes down. It's based on the difficulty of the encounter, compared to your level. And so, like, high level monsters, and you always knew what fights were worth fighting. Like, they would give you more experience, so you were like, okay, it's red. Well, I could avoid it, right? I could avoid it, but it's better if I don't, because I'll get more experience for just going ahead and fighting it. And I've still, like, avoided this little area over here, which I need to fix because these trees I don't look good. Yeah, and stuff like that. Like, Pokemon's encounter system actually is good too. The tall grass idea. I had one game I was using that I never finished because I hardly ever finish games. This is hopefully going to be a change of pace for me, and I'm going to finish something. Okay, let's work on some, like, talking about tangents like I was talking about before. So, like, this is layer 4, so, like, let's get to layer 3. And there's a lot of stuff you can do with my brain. Like I have one where when you walked on roads between cities, the roads didn't have encounters. So you could always on the world map get from place to place relatively quickly if you just walked between if you just like walked between areas without, you know, only following roads. And it was only when you left the road, when you went off into, you know, more wilderness areas that you had encounters. And so there's like a lot of ways of changing encounters, even random encounters, without having a situation where, you know, you have to like script every encounter. There's just more ways to do everything than what people seem to want to do. Kids these days. I don't like how that's tangent. Yeah, using regions. That was what I was talking about with that. But for this one, I'm gonna have like it's using resources to avoid battles, which you gain resources that resource by fighting battles, and you'll be able to like tell the difficulty level compared to what you're fighting, so you can pick and choose your fights a little bit. Fight the ones that are probably going to give you the most resources. Avoid the ones that are cost you the least amount to avoid, and stuff like that. So it's going to have ways of like controlling how many fights you have, which I think is really what people focus on. What people want is to have control. And random encounters, like vanilla random encounters, I agree. They're not that fun anymore, but that's not what you have to have. Vanilla random encounters are not like the only way to the only way to do that kind of. Yeah, Chrono Trigger has so many spots where it's like, oh, the encounters are on screen, but you can't avoid them. So what difference does it make that they're on the screen? They're on the screen, but like, so what? It means nothing. It means nothing that they're on the screen. Because even though they're on the screen, dialogue random encounters. I am curious what you mean by that. More and more, I'm liking what this map is looking like. I still think it's not. I am not like going to ever claim I am like a really amazing map maker. I do think some of my maps look really good. I think that is actually really good, but it's because it looks like what it's supposed to look like. But it's not like fancy or anything. This is like trying to do something a bit more fancy, and I'm not entirely happy with it. I think that what I need is a brain. That's what I need. I need to like look at other people's maps who have used these tiles, which is always a good thing. Learn from other people. Learn from what they're doing, but don't copy. Like, there are things like, and certain things are just going to be stylistic, right? Some things like you just learn something they did with a style, and that's fine. But with like all things, try to find your own little bits of style. They like that, but that looks too close to that one. Throw in. Actually, let's throw in another clump. Let's. So that would be here. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to do. We're not going to be able to go below. So what we're going to do is this. Do like a triple clump. My thing with mapping is that in reality, I really, really like simple maps. I would rather, like, if I wasn't, like, dedicated to using, like, MV or MZ style tiles, I would want to use something more like Time Fantasy style, where you can make stuff that's very simple, and it looks very good, because it's designed to have very simple. On the other hand, I'm really good at eventing. I won't even like try to like pretend I'm not. Um, I have a very math based mind. I went to school for a very math based field, electronics. I did not finish my degree, but let's do. Hold on. I like Time Fantasy a lot. The person who does those is incredibly skilled pixel artist, and I love simple styles because you can do very simple maps. Like, go back and look at like old Dragon Quest maps, like the SNES era Dragon Quest, and the maps are very good looking, but they're not complex. Nothing is this complex in those. Everything is more simplistic. Look at Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger actually um, is not a very complexly mapped game. It just, like, everything is custom drawn for it. So, like, it looks really good. But if you look at, like, maps in Chrono Trigger, they're not very complex at all. Not, like, you won't see this many different tiles in one space. And I actually think about that a lot. And I think about how we, as RPG Maker designers, have gotten in our heads that we have to do it like this. And I kind of think it does look good, but then I stop and think about it, and I'm like, do we really need this much detail to everything? Do we? Like, people look at it if we don't, and they're like, oh, that's a very empty map. There was a game that you cannot, to my knowledge, you can't import the in Switch to PC because it's two very, very different programs. We don't publish the one for Switch or PS. Let's see. What do I want to do? I think I need to dress up this area up here. I'm gonna ignore the other areas for right now, and I'm gonna work on them after I do this. Like I said, this is gonna be all like one cutscene. It's meant to be go to here, see this. And actually, I probably am gonna. Man, I don't know if I like the shape of anything I did. Because knowing it's going to be one scene, it would have been nicer if they were like more adjacent, because that's going to be a long walk for one. I might split it up from one scene and have like, but it logs, rocks, and weeds up top. Oh, up here, yeah, everything needs like this area. Maybe like my thing with the log is that like it's so specifically that if you have too many of them, it starts looking really weird. Like it starts looking weird that you have that many fallen logs. But let's put a couple. Well, technically no one is anywhere here. This is actually it's complicated. The fantasy world actually has nothing living in it. In fact, well, sort of. There are things living here, but not a lot. So, like, even random encounters are going to be actually explained why they're not Like rotating tiles, yeah, but you would just need new art. Like if you rotated that, it wouldn't be facing the right way anymore. Like you could like if you could do maybe doing a horizontal, like a not horizontal. Is it horizontal flip? Like just, but even then your shading would probably not be correct. There's a lot of things where it's like, yeah, you could, but then it wouldn't look right. Or painted. Even if it's painted, it doesn't look right because your shading is going to be the wrong. Some of them could though. Like that flower, you could like just flip, and it'd probably look fine both ways. Like, there's some very specific things that could probably be flipped, and no one would ever know. Because I don't think there's any directional. There's maybe a little bit directional shadow on those flowers, but not much. You could probably do that. But see, like if you flipped that shadow would be on the wrong side. All of the RTP is directed like there's shadow coming from the upper, or the light is coming from your upper left, which is why you always get shadow on the right side of things and the bottom of things. So like you always have that light coming from this direction. There's a few things that like, yeah, maybe like, yeah, just those flowers, the only things I can look at right now. I'm like, yeah, you could probably flip that. Okay. I know this has not been the I feel like last week doing eventing I think is actually the most fun thing to do on stream because it's more directional, whereas this is kind of all over the place. And there's a lot of me just thinking through what I want to do next. And I've done literally nothing in like 5 minutes probably, other than just talk about different ideas. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna put more. I think actually what needs to be done up here is I'm gonna get rid of all of what's up here, and it needs to be way more trees and way more. Like I'm probably gonna do like super clumpy. Yeah, but I'm not as calming as Bob Ross. Yeah, just this. There's suns everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's suns. Might have to fix a lot of the little corners doing this. Gonna have to fix that entire section, but I'm gonna leave these because I'm gonna use them as the start of clump. I actually like use this as kind of a guide of how I mix in some of the other trees. You know what? You joke about changing the lore to just to like justify rotating tiles, but you know what? I really like when people like put lore into why dumb things work in. That was like I talked about um the monsters in my game are actually um in a way not real, and they are popping out because of this one. So the fact of random encounters is more of them coming out of the aether. So random encounters are literally just explained in my game. That's what happens. That's how random encounters exist. Let's do more clumpy there. And let's clumpy. And I like the concept of explaining your stuff like that. Of just saying, yeah, it works that way because that's how it works. Like, actually works that way in the lore. It's not just a game mechanic, it's, you know, a natural part of how this world works. It'd be faster if I just did all of these at once. Though I know I'm probably going to edit some of it when I start adding in other. This one right here. Yeah, it's like a Shadow of Mordor. Um, and how the whole process of like your character actually dying is a lore part of the game. Like when you die, that's like actually a thing that happens, and um, it exists because you know. There, and then let's put. So these are on tile layer 4. So I'm on layer 3. But yeah, it's a big thing I really love in games when games like make their. I'm gonna have to do like some more layery stuff there. Oh. Talk about mapping and drawing tiles at the same time. Yeah, I suggest people don't do that. That's why, and I've talked about this whole thing, is I tend to keep a list. Like, I will do a map. Like, right now, I have a list of things in my head that I want different. And when I'm done, I'm going to open up a sheet on, like, just a notepad and write down all the things that I think need to be in. Write down all of the little bits and pieces that I'm like, I need this, 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 and this. Because if you do that, now let's add these back in. You know, it's just a lot easier than trying to like go back and forth between making tiles and finding tiles and mapping at the same time. It is like, I often suggest like trying to finish one thing at a time before moving on to the next, even though I do not follow that advice all the time. Well, I mean, you are correct and incorrect, Silver Shion. Talent is a thing that people talk about, but they don't mean. Talent is just skill. If that makes sense. Talent is just skill, and skill can be built up. So yes, someone who has practiced more does things better. So all artistic talent is someone who has taken the time to really learn what they're doing. And I'll admit, I've never done that with art. Okay, that needs to be fixed. I forgot what layer. That's 3 layers on top of each other, so it needs to be like on layer 2. This is a thing like that would be impossible to do without combining tiles in MV. Because it has 3 different B to E layers layered on top of each other. Why write it down when you could just vlog your ideas? It's true. I thought about actually, this is going to sound funny. So, I have next week off, and I have 3 major things that I want to work on while I'm off. One is I am going to read a bunch of books and comic series that I have been wanting to read for a while and just haven't had the time to do. The second is work on a D&D adventure for some friends that I've been meaning to run. And the third thing that I want to try to get done, I just realized I missed one of the corners, is I want to find every flavor of Mountain Dew that exists, is currently being sold, that I can get within like 100 miles of my house. And find them all. But my point was being, I seriously considered making a vlog of all of this. It probably wouldn't, obviously it wouldn't be RPG Maker content, but like just do some book reviews and then like video me finding all of the Mountain Dew flavors. I don't even like Mountain Dew that much. I just think it's funny that there's like 80,000 flavors, so I want to find them all. Alright. I think I need to like do some more tall grass up here. I need to be more selective on how I do the tall grass. And I need to make sure I switch to a specific... Alright, so it needs to be on layer 2. And it is the whole thing of like, oh, whoa, that's really weird. There. Making sure I don't tangent things too much. Go under stuff. I don't know how those ones that are going under the edges of the tree. We'll see. Also, it's funny because I do find mapping relaxing, but I will tell you this. I do not find mapping on stream relaxing. The whole thing about talent being innate, I think it's true that some people are naturally better at some things than others. But I don't think it's the level that people make it out to be. Some of that's gonna... I don't think it looks good against the edge. I think the majority of it is practice. I think skill is like 90% of what people think of when they say talent. Good night, Ellen. Because like I think about it, and I think about all the times I like, oh, I wish I could do whatever, right? And 90% of the time, yeah, I probably could do that thing if I practiced. I could do pixel art if I worked at it, but I don't. Like, when you don't, the only person you have to blame for not being able to do it is you. Is there a darker grass color? Not really. I could make one. But everyone can learn to do most things. Most. I'm not going to say everyone can learn to do everything. That's probably... and yes, some people have a slightly easier time learning certain things. But overall, I think that people just need to work at what they want to learn. Just work at it. Eventually, you'll get it. What does that look like? These little wees. Eat your Wheaties today? Probably not eat weed. I'm sure there... You can make... I think, is it tea that you can make from dandelions, which is weed? I was a Boy Scout at one point. I should know these things. Okay, that's on 4, so I can get... It was many, many years ago, but I did the Boy Scouting. Alright, I think this up here looks like a lot better than it did before. I think I need like one more, like some kind of tree. Maybe a tall tree. Let's just jam a tall tree in. Not how I meant to do that. That. Okay. Okay, the problem is I did that very wrong. Okay, that's on layer 4. It needs to be on layer 3. And then this needs to be on layer 4. That just needs to not be there. This needs to be on layer. That piece right. Layer 4, we're going to erase that. That needs to be on layer. Yeah, generally do not. Like, I don't think I would try to make dandelion tea without looking up if you can do. You can make tea from dandelions. I was thinking you could. The issue is finding what you actually want to spend your time learning. It's true. There's a million things you can learn, and I like how I completely ignored this entire section. Good. Oh, I actually really, like, not to brag, but I actually really like how this ended up looking. I think that looked better than any other part of the map, which is sad because this is a place you don't walk. But I think starting with the clumps was what I did that helped. I think I should have started with clumps everywhere. So it is 8:52 for me here, which is what, 5:52 Pacific time. I just have to think Pacific time because that's what Steam is on, and that's how we have to think when you work in the video game. I was gonna do it for just two hours tonight, so I think I'm gonna just fix up down here. I call it a night, and then I'm gonna see you guys in 2 weeks because, again, I do not. I have next week off. Have my fun adventure doing a lot of things. Hopefully, have some fun. Read some books, get some inspiration. Maybe work on my game some. I don't know if I want to or not. You know, it's kind of been like the vacation for me. Like, I know that, like, okay, so I enjoy doing this, right? I love working on games, but at the same time, I have not stopped thinking about RPG Maker in so long. That it's just like, you know, when you're just always thinking about it. And even though I've not been making games in it, I've been constantly checking out what's new, talking to other devs, you know. It's just that constant thing of, like, always being about RPG Maker. So I'm probably not gonna. I'll probably do something before the next stream, but that's because I'm gonna be doing something on that Monday. But, you know, I think I'm gonna, like, not touch my for a week, just a week, and then I'll be back to trying to make this work. And I'm gonna work on, when I get back, like, between streams, what I'm gonna work on is getting the ending of that cutscene from that I started last week done, so that we can get into here. And I'm gonna try to get everything to here done. I'm gonna, like, the tutorial part I'm probably gonna skip, as in I'm just gonna put a thing in of saying, here, this tutorial needs to be written, because I haven't finalized my mechanics. Without finalizing mechanics, you don't want to write your tutorial, because then your tutorial is just going to be different. So the tutorial is going to wait probably, like, till I'm almost done with the game. It's just going to have, like, the, you know, this is where the tutorial goes, and then skip it. And then when I get done and finalize most of my mechanics, I can go back and actually write the tutorial. Otherwise, you're just going to rewrite the same thing 3 or 4 times. You don't generally, until you start implementing it in the engine, you don't necessarily know where it's going to go, right? It is the quarantine. We all want to go outside, but I'm not. I'm just going to read books. Well, I am going to go try to find Mountain Dew, but I'm going to do it wearing a mask and social distancing the right way. So, all right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna like just load up, and I'm just gonna look at the parts I worked on that I really feel like are polished in game. And again, passabilities are not done yet, but actually, I think all that area looks really good. I think it could be improved. I think there's stuff I could do. I think I was right about like making sure that things don't tangent too much, that everything kind of like layers and doesn't just meet. I think this area could probably use a little bit. Maybe some tall grass or maybe a couple flowers in this area. Clearly, everything down here is going to be visible when I'm standing. Like, all that's going to be visible when I'm standing here. So, I might like just quickly go over what's going to happen. So last week I made the cutscene where like she gets her artifact weapon, and she's gonna walk out the front of the convenience store, but she's going to be here, and then she's just gonna be like, "What?" And then she hears a scream, and again, I think I feel like I feel like this is too much walking between these two spaces. Like at the same time, it needs that much distance to be off screen. And I want it to be off screen, but at the same time, as far as walking distance, that may be too much. And that's upsetting me because I do think those sections are well mapped. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Maybe instead cut a walking path down this way that's shorter. She's gonna come down here. She's gonna meet the first party member and also our tutorial mascot. It is not isekai, and I'll explain why I think it is not isekai. Also, I do not like isekai. Not as a whole. There are some isekai stuff I really like, but I think the genre is overplayed. It's not. It is actually still the real world. It's just another asset. It's another part of the real world. It's more like Persona or the series the Tokyo Mirage Sessions, where it's just a secret part of our own world. So it's not a different world, and they're going to keep going back and forth between the real world, the normal world, and this fantasy part of the world. So I think that's going to be it for me today. I think that this map, it got there. It was rough, but it got there. I thank you everyone for joining. I do appreciate having someone to talk to. I appreciate someone keeping me on working on this because I have a bad habit of dropping projects. And sometimes the only thing that keeps you going on a project is other people thinking you need to be working on it and showing it to other people. And this stream is going to keep me working on this project. So this forest map, this little area, I think it came out all right. It needs a little few things. I think it needs this like yeah, I was thinking about like having the character walk this way, fade out, transport, fade in, walk this way. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, Brian. So anyway, I'm gonna close out for tonight. Thank you very much. Let's put I have my bumper back on. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I hope everyone enjoys the next week. We're still going to be doing the Studio Blue show on Monday. I will not be there. T will be watching it for me instead of me having to do it. And see you in 2 weeks when I'm back.